You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz, and today is Monday, September 20th, 2021. Well, you know, I live in Florida, been here 9 years. I moved basically, I wanted to be left alone. I wanted to be away from New York State's tentacles. I wanted to get out of their grasp because to them, I'm nothing but a milk cow. And, I moved to Florida, no regrets, Northern Palm Beach County, owned a couple of places since I've been here, just bought another one recently. You know what's happened to the real estate, but you don't really know till you hear from boots on the ground. And right now with us is Ryan Poole. Ryan runs a website, company, realtor called realtrade.io. I should say real estate brokerage, and doing some interesting things. But first, Ryan, it's your first time on the show. Welcome. Want to get an idea of what the heck is going on in the Florida market. Obviously, like real estate is always local. You and I are in Palm Beach County, and we've got, Florida seems to have hundreds of counties. I think there's 90-something counties here. Everyone potentially is a different market. We got the West Coast, we got Miami, we've got the Keys, got Naples, Clearwater, St. Pete Beach, St. Pete, Tampa, Orlando, all these markets. It's a huge market. I can tell you, you've been here longer than me, but I moved here in 2012. At that time, Florida was just about to overtake New York as the third most populous state. The first, obviously, being California, second, Texas. Now we're 10, 12% higher than New York. At that time, we had 19.5 million. Now we've got probably over 22 million. You never really know how many people because you can't believe the census. The census, it's a government program. But it seems to me that things have really heated up in this market over the past, 8 or 9 months.
Yeah, Kerry, thanks for having me on. It's, as he said, I've been in real estate here in South Florida for 20 years as an active agent and been partner in a brokerage. And this last run for, that we've been on here this last couple of years, even especially since COVID, has been incredible. Something that I've never witnessed here in my time here. We're having a lot of clients here from New York, New Jersey, obviously, Connecticut, which has always been, but of course we're getting clients from California and Texas. And, I think there's a number of reasons why, why they're coming here. I think a big one is, say what you want about DeSantis. I think he nailed it right as far as, calling with COVID and keeping everything open. And, it really benefited us, especially people working from home, and they could come down here and be in Florida, find some attractive prices on real estate, and then not have to pay state income tax and actually go to restaurants.
Well, look, Florida, people have been coming to Florida for lower cost of living 60 plus years that I know of. My grandparents moved here in the late 60s, but knew a lot of people who moved down here because you could make your money in the north and then you could move down to Florida. And basically, your cost of living was roughly a third to 40% of what it was up north. Even before the states became high tax states and low tax states, Florida was always cheaper. Rents were cheaper, real estate was cheaper, all these things. Now we throw in a dose of libertarianism, a dose of sound government policy, which if that's not an oxymoron, I don't know what is. And then you look here and everything stayed open. And all of a sudden it was like a mass awakening and people have just descended upon the state. And we just don't seem to have enough real estate to go around. The place where I was, you know the area well in northern Palm Beach County. The guys could not build these houses fast enough, and after every 3 or 4 sales, they raised the prices, and places that were going for 400 something thousand are up close to $1 million now. That just doesn't seem sustainable to me. Do you think it's sustainable?
Yeah, no, I would definitely see, obviously leveling off, maybe a little bit of a correction, especially in the rest of the state of Florida. The other rest of the state has done very well, but, South Florida, I think, is a little bit unique in the sense that with our weather that we have here and a lot of other different things. I think, you're still, when you look at the price, like, let me give you an instance. I had a client of mine that just sold her home up in Greenwich, Connecticut. She sold it for a couple $1 million. And she actually had a business, she had a insurance business. All her employees were remote, and she goes, Ryan, I'm moving to Florida, and I've done the math here. The money that I'm saving on headquartering my business here now in Florida pays for my whole lifestyle here, in Florida. And she bought a $2.5 million condo, in Singer Island. So, I think that that has a lot to do with it. And for us here in South Florida, but has the market gone crazy? But when you look at the rest of the country with the prices that they're getting for homes in the rest of the country, still the prices in Florida, South Florida, are still pretty attractive.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, on the Financial Survival Network, we try to get ahead of the trends, try to get ahead of where the market's going. I'm going to do something here that's going to really surprise you. All right, what I'm predicting.
Okay.
So financially, we're in a very financially unstable environment right now. Money printing. Post-pandemic recovery, blah, 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 international geopolitical situation. But one thing we know is that the northern states have had a massive exodus from there. And if we have the financial meltdown that's going to happen, you might have real estate markets in these high-cost states collapse. But as a result of that, Florida's market is going to get even more in demand and more hectic as things collapse up north. Nobody else is predicting that. They're saying, well, we'll have a normal pullback. But I'm telling you, like from geopolitical, from a macroeconomic standpoint, and it's not to say that Florida is not crazy and the rate prices haven't gotten ahead of themselves. It almost doesn't matter because it depends on what's happening to the rest of the country. And even if people can't sell their houses, they're still going to be coming here, which is going to drive rents, which is going to drive prices.
Wow. No, I love that insight. I think you're right on with that. I think we have a unique situation here in Florida, especially South Florida versus the rest of the country. And people love it here. There's so much more culture that's happening here. You look at Palm Beach County now, with the Kravitz Center and the Bright Line, all these things that are happening. Goldman Sachs just took a whole floor of a Class A office building here in downtown West Palm Beach. Multiple hedge funds have headquartered here. So it's even becoming a financial, center here in South Florida. Tech as well. I actually have a tech company, like I said, RealTrade. Tech is moving here to South Florida. So I think you're right on the money with that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a shock to the world. Oh, look, everyone is shocked now that Florida is far excelling the rest of the country. You've got other states, southern states, basically the states people are running from. And then you got the states that people are running to, Florida, Texas, and, a lot of the South, Georgia, the Carolinas. But the biggest spots are Texas and Florida by far. So as far as what you do here, got a different swing on things because there's a company called Zillow that's basically trying to make the realtor, they're trying to be the disruptive force in real estate. Like Expedia for airline tickets and E-Trade for stocks, all of these things. They basically want it all for themselves, and they put a boatload of money into their platform, their technology. It might not be the best, latest, greatest information. There's a lot of bait and switching going on there that they put up with because their business model is they're a lead generator at the present time, but you're kind of fighting back against them.
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Fury Gold Mines is a Canada-focused exploration and development company committed to aggressively growing its scalable, high-grade gold assets with major drill campaigns planned across its 3.5 million ounce portfolio. Fury is led by a management team of proven explorers and developers with a track record of success in advancing and financing project development. Fury Gold Mines is well positioned to create value for investors with low-risk development growth and the potential for a new major discovery. Fury Gold Mines trades on the TSX and NYSE American under the ticker FURY. To learn more, go to furygoldmines.com. That's furygoldmines.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network, the information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Yeah, Kerry, it's it's a big problem in the real estate industry of what Zillow's doing. I mean, they for people that don't really realize, agents work really hard to get listings and they put them on the MLS. They're taking the photos, they're making those connections, and then Zillow gets that data and they populate their platform with it, and that allows buyers and sellers to see it. But this crazy thing is they actually make the agents buy back those buyers and sellers off their own data. So they become a huge middleman now. A lot of agents, if you want to build any kind of online presence, which Zillow owns 75% of the market share there, you're spending thousands of dollars a month. And I have agent friends that are spending $30,000, $40,000 a month. And, it's just not sustainable. I mean, obviously you start working for Zillow at that point. So, it's, I said, wow, this problem has to be solved. And, how I looked at it was I said, hey, about 4.5 years ago, I discovered blockchain technology. And of course, we all know the speculative asset behind Bitcoin and different things like that. I said, but this business model of being decentralized and community owned and curated, there's something to this. And I said, us agents are running these transactions on a database, but Zillow's gaining all that value. What happened if we allowed the agents to basically own the marketplace? So that's the big disruption with RealTrade is it's actually owned and curated by real estate agents. And, the amazing thing is that we allow them to own their own data. They're putting out better information, right? They're putting out actually better information for buyers and sellers because they care more about the marketplace than they would on Zillow. So it's very unique in that absence. So RealTrade in its easiest essence is a marketplace like Zillow, but we have an exciting social media aspect to RealTrade that we allow agents to network with one another to help facilitate business. And of course, we allow the buyers and sellers to follow the agents too to get additional information that they can't get from Zillow.
It's a funny thing because I look at the platforms, I look at the MLS platform, and I look at Zillow's platform. And you know what? It's like the technology gap between the MLS system and the Zillow system. It's kind of like we're back in the DOS era.
In the 90s. Yeah.
That's the MLS. And Zillow et al. Is basically 20 years ahead. Their technology, it's so much better. The way they present pictures, the way that the data is so much more accessible. I mean, I'm looking at yours, which is really nice, and I'd say very comparable. If you have a chance, take a look. It's called realtrade.io. I'm looking at yours, really nice. You click on a listing, and all the information that you want is there, more or less. And the pictures come up displayed really well, just like Zillow. I mean, I would really put you up there, except that the info you have is really kind of more extensive than a lot of Zillow. I put Zillow up, and I look at them, and if I just look at just put in an address here, I've got a friend in Aventura, Florida. I look at it and it's like, I look at their listings and it's like exciting. And then I look at the MLS and even like realtor.com, which isn't the MLS, but they're governed by the MLS much better. They've got to get rid of expired listings. They can't keep fake listings around. And I look at realtor.com and it's really, they don't have the information I want.
Well, Realtor.com too has nothing to do, just so you know, with Relators or the MLS. It's owned by Rupert Murdoch, which is just a media company. Yep. So we don't sell leads. Yes. So that's a big thing is like we don't sell leads. So we actually have the interest to have the most up-to-date data on RealTrade. A matter of fact, we allow the agents, since they own their own listings, to put additional information that they can't get on Zillow or Realtor.com.
Yeah. Yeah, which is really a plus. As a lot of the times, I find that these listings are very frustrating. Hey, let me ask you a question, and this is just as a kind of inside business. Why do people put one picture up of a property and then expect to sell it? I mean, maybe you could do it in the existing Florida market, people buying stuff sight unseen. But even if the place is a wreck, how can you just put up one picture in this day and age? Don't people understand?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Just sometimes I think it's a combination. Sometimes the agent's just in a hurry and just hasn't got the photos yet, but wants to just put it on the market quick. Sometimes, like you said, they think it's, they're doing a favor by only putting one or two photos on. I'm a firm believer. It's like, be honest, put the photos out there, so people can see what they're looking at.
Good, the bad, and the ugly. Don't, because then, but that just seems to be a fundamental problem. The other thing I see is like, how many agents don't know how to write a listing, right? They just don't have a clue. And they're like poorly written, grammatically bad, and, they have no focus. In a lot of ways, agents are their own worst enemies, and that's why Zillow is finding it easy pickings.
I agree. No, I agree. It's being an agent too, and having a lot of agent friends. I agree. We can be our worst enemies, but that's one thing. I think they're just not incentivized to have a good database right now. Versus if they did, if they own part of that database. I think it could make a difference. But yeah, you're right. It's but we're working on that. I think slowly but surely it's getting better.
Yeah, well, let us hope. So for this year, you think the gains we've seen in the market pretty much is it for the year, or is we going to see higher prices here?
Gosh, I think I honestly think I still see some room in a lot of pockets to go up. So, Kerry, a lot of waterfront stuff is such high demand right now. I mean, I'm seeing some things there. I think too, a lot of golf course communities seeing some more demand there. So I can definitely see some prices increase in those markets as well. Let's see what happens with COVID. I mean, what happens with these other states too. I mean, I think it can benefit us both ways. If COVID's, we have this other new Delta variant and this other variant that's out there, and more people want to come down here. Versus if it's not, I think people want to come down to Florida just to get away and take a vacation, and they're exposed then to what's happening down here. This isn't the same. I just want people to know this isn't the same Florida. If you haven't been here in like 3 or 4 years, this isn't the same Florida as it was 3 or 4 years ago. It's changed dramatically.
That's so true. I mean, in so many ways, it really has. And old Florida had a certain charm, but nothing stays the same. Hey, Ryan, if people want to find out more about you, connect with you on the web, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, go into realtrade.io. If you're a buyer or seller, you can create a profile for free, start interacting with agents. You can follow me as well. I'm an agent on there as well, and other top agents. And we have some of the top agents in South Florida on there. So realtrade.io. It's free.
All right. Excellent. And if you got a question for Ryan, just shoot us an email, kl@kerrylutz.com, and make sure you go to the site, financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Sign up for your free newsletter. Ryan, pleasure meeting with you, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks for having me on, Kerry.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.